Hello everyone, welcome to Unit 4, Lesson 4.2 of the Nivaro curriculum, where we're going to introduce TailwindCSS and install it into the React project that we created last week in GitHub Codespaces. So jumping right into it, the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to go into the code space that we created last week. Might need to refresh it, and we're going to open it up. And once we have this, it should take a minute to load. All right, so once our website has loaded through GitHub Codespaces, we're going to click this plus button and open up a new terminal. So once we have our terminal open, we're going to install two things. We're going to type npm install TailwindCSS, which should install TailwindCSS, and we're also going to type npm install auto prefixer. And it might take a second to load. And so once we have those two things installed, we're going to first create a new file. We can follow these instructions. We're going to create a new file called tailwind.config.js in the basic thing. So tailwind.config.js. And in this tailwind.config.js file, we want to copy this code right here. And this is basically initializing what Tailwind is and how it runs. But you can save that. What at least this code does is it tells TailwindCSS to look at all of the styles in the JavaScript and React component files, and you can also add some things like extend the theme and change the plugins to change the look and feel of Tailwind, but we're not going to do that today. So the next thing we're going to have to do is import TailwindCSS into our main CSS file. So open up index.css, and we're going to add some spaces at the top. I can probably move this here, make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see better. And I'm also going to do that. Yeah. So once we have this here, we can now import these things. We can go back to the curriculum website and copy this. So once we have this here, we just copy this over and then save this. And we also need to do one extra thing, and now go to this index.html file, and then to this head section, we are going to copy this script right here. So in the head section, just copy this, paste it in right here. So now when we go back to our app.jsx file, and let's say copy some Tailwind code in, so let's just copy this example Tailwind code, which is styled correctly. We can delete this and save this. Now we actually have a styled message, right? I can also, do another example where this is something a little bit more simple, where now we have a paragraph with a blue background. Let me just show this a little bit better. So now we have a paragraph with a blue background and some white text and stuff like that. And the reason why Tailwind is so nice is because that all of our styling is done in just one file, right? In one line of code. If we were to style this with index or with CSS and some other methods that we talked about before and you should be familiar with, you'd have to make a new file and then import that file and then make a class name and merge everything together. It's a little bit confusing and it's just a little bit tedious, right? But now with Tailwind CSS, all you have to do is just input one of these names into our actual class, and then it'll automatically style it, right? So if I want to make this bold, right, you can just do font bold and it'll make it bold. It's super, super simple, and it makes styling everything a whole lot easier. And so if you're actually confused on how do I know what to name things, where do I find these class names and stuff like that, we've included the Tailwind CSS documentation, so you can just go to the website and then you can go to all of this right here. Like the whole left side has a bunch of information on everything styling wise and all this sort of stuff. And it's probably a little bit intimidating at first when you first look at it. Oh my God, there's so many things. But there's so much stuff you can really just customize with Tailwind, which is why there's so much. Yeah, the one thing I really recommend you to do is ask ChatGPT. So kind of transitioning into the homework for this week, which is what we want you guys to do, is we want you to go and create your own kind of portfolio website, and learn a little bit about styling and React and Tailwind along the whole way, right? So we want you to include the following, which is your name, a little bit about yourself, a picture, and it doesn't have to be anything, just something that represents you, and then just make it kind of nice looking, right? You can change the font around, all this sort of stuff. And we really want you guys to experiment and learn this stuff on your own. And the way that you're going to do that if you get stuck, though, is ask the Nivaro chatbot, right? So, I want to create a portfolio website in React.js using TailwindCSS. Where do I start? And this should give you a basis for the code and all this sort of stuff. And you can just keep asking it and getting all this sort of stuff. So if it seems really frightening and intimidating, it's you're going to learn through this whole process and through figuring things out, the whole process of I'm stuck. Let me ask ChatGPT. It's going to give me a response, or ask the Nivaro chatbot. It's going to give me a response. Tell me what to do. Now I'm unstuck. Now I have this thing. Instead of you having to ask your teacher, you can solve problems yourself, right? If you have any problems along the way too, you can always still ask us in the technology group or in any email us, anything like that. But yeah, we really want you to create this portfolio website. Once you have that done, it should be relatively simple, and you should definitely be prepared for the next unit, which is where we're actually going to create your first chatbot and be able to ask it questions and all this sort of stuff. But before we do that, you need to know the basics of React, Tailwind, and how to actually how to create a website. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.